Hey guys, Sean here. I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who has been tuning into the Play It Up podcast so far. We really love doing this podcast and really appreciate everyone who listens. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Play It Up podcast, and you can watch the full video podcast on YouTube or listen on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Buzzsprout, and more. If you like what we do, please give us a follow, subscribe, comment, like, or review. And if you really like us, please recommend us to other people who might like us. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the episode.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Play It Up podcast. I'm your host Neil Cairns, and today on our Donkey Kong Kong Off edition, we have Michael Kibbey. Michael, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, Neil. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic, man. Just finished another busy day at work, so good to sit back and have a chat to an old mate of mine. So let's start, Kibbey. We've already had you on the podcast, so our usual questions our usual first questions about growing up and childhood gaming, but we've already done that with you. So my question for you today is, what got you into Donkey Kong, or when did that begin?
Donkey Kong. So that was sort of my first venture into arcade gaming. It was 2009. It would have been, because I was year 11. I think it was a year after King of Kong had just come out, or a year, 2 years maybe. And it was on one of the movie channels. And I just watched it, and I just thought that looks pretty fun. So I downloaded MAME and tried, and I only got to about, I think, 90,000. I think that was the level 4 springs, which is where most people tend to run into issues.
Yep.
And then I took a break for, I don't know, 4 years, maybe 5 years. And then I watched King of Kong again and just sort of came up. So I watched it. At this point, I'd been streaming some other games. So I streamed some Donkey Kong, and Barra was just browsing the Donkey Kong category. And he just told me about Donkey Kong Forum. And then I just registered there. And from that point, I think it was another 2 or 3 years, I got my kill screen.
Yeah, right. So Barra was kind of like the first person within our community that kind of reached out to you.
Yeah. It was I wasn't broadcasting anywhere. Like, it wasn't on the Donkey Kong Forum page or anything like that at the time. So it was just I guess lucky that he was looking at the Donkey Kong category at the time.
Yeah,
right. My stream.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's funny. I actually started arcade gaming at home. My brother-in-law bought me a cab, so it was only a few years before Netherworld opened, and I understand that a lot of us met at Netherworld or Netherworld events, and that really became a push for our community to grow. But just wondering what kind of events were out there before Netherworld or barcades and stuff.
There weren't too many that I was competing in. There was all the American Kongos, I think, have been going for a while. And then there's been online tournaments. There's a yearly one called the Olympics. There's the MGL that Paul runs on Aussie Arcade.
Yep.
And there's also a yearly crap tourney. But as for live events, I don't really think there was much happening in Australia. It was mostly online.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry, what year did you say you got your kill screen?
I think it was December 2015 or maybe 2016. I'd have to double check.
Right. So that was that was before Kong Off 1, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Whatever year that Kong Off was. So that's 2017, 2018, 19, missed last year. So yeah, it would have been 2016 December.
Right. Okay, cool. So moving on to, so you're kill screening before you even got to any of the Kong Offs. Did you just do the one kill screen and then kind of give the game away for a while, or were you still trying to better your PB there?
I mean, the plan was always to PB, but the way with Donkey Kong that I play is it tends to be sort of 3 months on a year. I'll play pretty hard and then take a break for a while and come back. So it was a few times on and off in the last few Kong offs where I've been playing, but it wasn't. I've never sought out to beat that kill screen actively. I've had a few sessions where I've had 800,000 maybe, but I've never dedicated much time to it specifically.
Yeah, right. So, just wondering with Donkey Kong or the Kong off, the first event, you're just for the viewers, like you're one of the only players to perform in all of the Australian Kong offs so far. I think there's 6 players that have done that.
Really, I thought there'd be more than that. That's
I've got a bit of a list here. So there's you, Shane, Barra, Alan,
makes
Shane,
sense.
John McNeil, and Richie Knuckles. I believe that's it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh, and Johnny Bond would be on there as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually. So, but it's interesting that so in the first Kong off there was only 8 spots. There was only a finalist of eight players. So it's pretty interesting that 7 of those players have
continued
to play in the Kong off. Another player I've never met
so those 7 players were all in the top 8 of the first Kong off as well.
I believe so. I'm going to have to check my facts here, but yeah. Okay. So those 7 players have gone through for each of the Kong offs. So Shane, Graham, McNeil, Stahl, Barra, Bond, Knuckles, and Kibbey were the original 8. So Graham's probably would have done all 3 if he stuck around, but he's from New Zealand, isn't he?
Yeah, with Barra.
Yeah, so that's really cool that you've been part of the finalists for all of those events. What was it like going to the first Kong off? I wasn't actually there, but it must have been awesome for someone like you who was a part of the community before it, and it was a real kind of collaboration of all of your mates.
Yeah, it was really cool to see everyone for the first time. Alan, Barra, I think it might have been the first time. Oh no, there was an event earlier, Arcade Armageddon, I think, where people came up. That was when Netherworld just opened the first year, but so it would have been the second time for some of them. But yeah, Richie coming over, that was awesome. I think Ethan and Estelle came over for the first one from America. It was cool meeting them.
Yeah, that was the second one, Kibbey. But
was that the second one?
Yeah. So
my year's way out.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, it must have been awesome to a lot of these people would have been just like name tags almost. So meeting
putting a face on a name, especially a lot of the ones in Brisbane that I hadn't met at Netherworld yet or hadn't come in. Having that Donkey Kong tournament really brought a lot of them out. So that was probably one of the best parts for me. And then just seeing some of the play, like how consistent Shane was throughout the entire event. It was just awesome to see such good Donkey Kong players all in one place.
Yeah, man, for sure. So do you remember, I know we're going back a few years, but do you remember how seriously you were taking it? Because from my understanding, you probably were the that was probably the most informed you've been. Is that correct in saying that, or
in terms of ability?
Yeah.
I'd say it's the best I was at the game. In terms of seriousness, I mean, I was trying to win every game, obviously, but it wasn't something I was stressed out about. I wasn't really nervous going into any game, I don't think.
Yeah, for sure.
Just fun to play the game against friends. Yeah.
Do you actually remember going up against Alan Stahl in that first round, or is that something you vividly remember? Or
I remember the last death vividly. I think it happened at the exact same time at the second Kong off as well. I think I was up against Alan Style again.
Right.
And I remember exactly how I died that last death. Because I was practicing the night before, and I died like that. And I said to myself, I can't die like that in game.
Brutal. Yeah.
So,
What level was it?
it was pretty early on. I think it was level 7 or 8. It was on the barrel board. Just as I grabbed or was going to grab the top hammer, where I thought I'd be safe, he sort of threw a wild barrel and it just clipped my foot.
Ah, brutal. Yeah, that's Donkey Kong though, isn't it?
So, I mean, it was good. I was versus Alan. I was glad he went through. I think he ended up going to second place against Shane.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
in that one. Yeah,
I think that's the furthest he's got, I believe, or he's been runner up twice.
I think he's made the quarterfinals every time.
Yeah, so it was Graham versus Saul in the finals there.
Oh yeah.
He got kicked out by Stahl, and he got kicked out by Graham in the semis for the first one. So yeah, that kind of it must have been a really cool competition. There was only like I said, there was only 8 held at Netherworld. Pretty cool event. I didn't go because I went and met what's his name? Stan Lee was at Supernova. So I thought it would be cool too.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I can understand missing it for that.
So I took my kids to get a photo with him. I thought it was going to be a bit cooler of an experience, but like they were just like smashing through photos. So I could have been sitting next to a wax figure for all I know.
That's fair enough.
So
I mean, it's still cool to have a photo there to say met Stan Lee.
Yeah, totally. No, it was awesome. Like his panel was really cool, and it was really good to go to. So unfortunately I missed that one, but I was definitely there for the second Kong off. Probably like something I talked to J-Mac. It was probably my favorite Kong off because we kind of met a lot more people from within Australia, the Australian community, J-Mac included, and Paul Falcon, and the Tagster and people like that all kind of came up. It was in the heart of Netherworld as well, which I loved, and we got some of the Americans over in Ethan Daniels and Guffanet as well. Do you remember much of Kong Off 2?
I remember Ethan dressed like a Donkey Kong cabinet for a lot of the event with his shirt and shorts.
With a blue shirt, right?
With a blown out Donkey Kong cabinet on it as the exact color.
That's awesome.
That was pretty amazing. I mean, it all just went by so fast. I don't remember anything in particular, just meeting all the mates, having beers. The game's not so much. Again, I didn't take it too seriously. I think I only made it to the round of 8 again, maybe.
Yeah, so from my research that I've done, you actually beat McNeil in
I remember that game.
Yeah.
On my last man, I just went forever, and he was just waiting for me to die. I just never did.
Yeah, right. And I don't have any scores in regards to that, but after that, you came up against Stahl again. So it's funny.
Beat me again, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. So you got 188 that time, and he beat you with 2 lives in the bank. But it's funny, your 2 games are the only you're the only 2 that have played each other twice in the Kong off for knockout.
Oh yeah, I was hoping to get him in the 3rd year as well. That would have been sort of maybe get some redemption on him. But I don't know if versing Alan in particular, just because of the name he has around him with the live stream, everyone watching his game. I don't know if maybe that added some extra pressure that made me panic or play worse, but
yeah.
He's such a strong player. It was going to be hard to beat him anyway.
Yeah, for sure. He's probably played more Donkey Kong than anyone, right?
I think so. I think he's at least top 3.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm super jealous that you yeah, something I want to experience is being there on the second day. Like I've always had fun doing the qualifying and enjoying the social part of it as well. But yeah, what's it like? It must be a great feeling. Just dropping that first credit in with all the machines going off together and surrounded by really good Australian Donkey Kong players.
Yeah, the credit drop's awesome. Hearing all the music play at once on 8 machines is it's really cool. I think Kong Off was the first time I actually played on a real Donkey Kong cab, so that was an experience.
Oh, that's
I've
rad.
never played on MAME before. Yeah, I never had a control panel or anything, so I
Right.
think it was the same for a lot of the guys. I think Barra's only played on, or had only played on MAME.
Right. Now, what's your home setup like? Do you have like do you use a genuine Donkey Kong controller, like or joystick?
No, so I vary. I have a SoundWire in my cabinet, which has a 60-1 in it, and a SoundWire in my USB control panel. But most of the time, I just play with keyboard because it's just convenient at my computer.
Yeah, right. And do you find it hard to navigate a proper, like a genuine CAD?
At first, it felt weird, the stick, because I just wasn't used to it. Way different to like how a SoundWire is.
Yeah.
I would say way different, but it just took me a while to get used to the sort of clunk that they have going into each direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I find the same, even with the button, like that deep plunge is very different to like I use hat buttons mainly. So yeah, it's very different, like same shape, but like the plunge is like, yeah, it's noticeable. Like you really have to tap them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I guess it can be okay if you don't want to accidentally jump if you're resting your finger on there, but sometimes you don't jump when you want to.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah. So I was gonna say, it's funny because you're one of like you're up there in Australia in regards to one of our best players.
Yeah, I dropped down a few places recently. I think I'm 6 or 7 or 8 maybe now.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. But when you consider like when you got it, you must have been what, 3rd or 4th in Australia to get a kill screen?
Thinks was 2nd or 3rd.
Yeah.
Remember Shane got his before me, I think.
Right.
Alan definitely got his first.
Yeah. And then it was either you or Shane.
Yeah, I think it might have been me, and then Shane
Yep.
got his, and then beat Alan and was first for a while.
Right. And what is your PB for Donkey Kong?
It's 843,000.
Okay. Yeah,
so like points maybe.
Yeah. So the people that are beating you are only beating you by like it wouldn't be much.
No, my next game should put me up a few places once I get near 900,000 again. But once I start practicing again, I'll probably just do bottom hammer, I imagine, and go for the million straight away because I don't think it's worth wasting time going for the 900,000 straight away.
Right. So like,
I may as well just jump.
What was your original strategy after getting the kill screen? Like, what's the next step for? So I assume you're just running boards originally to get to the kill screen. What is the next natural step? Is it bottom hammer?
Yeah, so I spoke to Wes actually after getting it because he wanted me to beat Alan's score just to inspire Alan. He just wanted Alan to get a better score, so he wanted someone to beat him, which thankfully Shane did come along and do it. Yeah. But I spoke to him, he was explaining to me that just running the boards, you could get upwards of 920,000 without getting bottom hammer. So my 843,000 was sort of much lower than a good game should be or a standard game should be, just running boards.
Okay.
So he explained to me some ways I could optimize certain boards and make more points. And my plan was to ideally get another kill screen around 900,000 because adding bottom hammer gives you about another 100,000 points. So that'll put you to that million mark.
Yep.
And I've had a few games. I think I've got a 750 and like an 820,000 that were on 900,000 pace.
Right.
So now I've done that a few times. So I think when I come back to it, I'll just skip going for that kill screen and just do the bottom hammer. Because I should be playing well enough to get that 1,000,000-point score.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's something I was going to talk to you about when I watch you compared to a lot of other players at Kong Offs is just how you're like the Fonz in regards to how chilled out and relaxed you are at those events. Even though you're making the top 16 or the top 8, you have a little bit of fun with like Jumpman or Mario, like jumping off walls or jumping when you're going up the conveyor on the springs and things like that. It's obviously you obviously don't get too stuck into the actual competitive side of that. Is that fair to say?
Well, I think that's just something that I've picked up playing over time when I'm playing at home. Because when you're standing on the conveyor waiting at the bottom of the springs or whatever for the elevator to come up to get the bottom prize, you have to wait for the fireball to go down and back up. So instead of just standing there, I'll do little things where I'll jump off the wall or whatever just to kill time. And I think that's just sort of transitions into my play when I'm at the competition.
Yeah,
just
right.
Sort of subconscious. I'll just do things like that.
Yeah, so it would be strange if you weren't doing that at a competition. Like that would be.
Yeah. And I think you'll see like a lot of it. I'll see people like Barra do, and it's just something that just I start doing naturally.
Yeah.
After watching them play for a few hundred hours, just something that you just subconsciously start doing for no reason, really.
Yeah, totally.
Some time.
Yeah, that's it, man. So onto the AK3, which was at the ECA. So definitely a different feel there in regard to that. Like not saying it's better or worse, but it was just a different. And obviously we couldn't have it at Netherworld. We would have just been crazy with the amount of people and the amount of attention we got there. But yeah, how was your experience at AK3?
I thought that was actually probably one of my favorites. It was cool seeing how much attention it all got. The pinball in particular was actually, I wouldn't say so. I was surprised to see it, but there was a lot of people that were going there and playing the pinball, which was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the Kong Off, I thought the event was awesome. There was a lot of space. I think we had more machines that year.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So that was cool. And yeah, just the streaming setup. Yeah, it was just all around. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, slowly getting a bit more professional each year, I reckon, in regards to Steam and the way we do things. So, but yeah.
Yeah, we're just watching what they do at Netherworld with that pinball, the portable pinball thing with all the cameras on it and stuff is pretty crazy. So,
yeah, totally. Yeah, it was.
They're getting pretty good.
Yeah, and
pretty good at running stuff.
Hopefully, I know Kaizen was he can direct feed boards now, so hopefully we can get to a point where if we could swap between games and stuff while the stream's happening, I think that would be awesome to just so like when one game ends, we can move to another to see what's going on and get that direct feed. That would just be amazing. For coverage for the Americans and stuff or whoever's interested or just like as a timepiece really for these kind of things, because it's funny, as much as we have tried to record it, the information isn't as available as you think out on the web. Unfortunately, like a lot of the head-to-head games, not much information's there besides who won.
Okay.
So it would be good to get a bit more information, or something I'll be definitely trying to do this year is to try and find out what scores kind of people were getting for their game.
I noticed that's something you're sort of interested in, is keeping track of the events.
Yeah, totally. Well, like, it's a part of like one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast was to record what was happening in Australia at this time. In regards to arcade, and I just find if someone doesn't record them, then people, I think there's kind of like just a general glaze of like, oh, it'll be somewhere on the internet or something like that. But
someone's got to do it first.
Yeah. If someone doesn't do it, then it's gone. Like one thing I'm doing at the moment is a piece on I'm trying to do like a Gallagher series, and one of the big part of that was the score wars over in America, where everyone went to, and Barra won that competition. And the footage of the actual finals is no longer available. You can't actually see any of the second day gameplay of the head-to-head competition. So it's cool. It's crazy how quickly this information can get lost if someone's not onto it. So that's but back to AK3. Do you remember coming up against Sean Rulin by any chance? Just young whippersnapper.
I do remember that up and coming DK player at the time.
Yep.
I was actually quite concerned going into it because he'd been playing pretty good.
Yeah.
And the thing about Kong is anything can happen. I mean, you take some wild barrels, you know.
Yeah.
Someone that's a world record player could get unlucky on the first 3 screens.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
The game would be over, and someone could beat them. But Sean was already, I think, it was at 500,000 points. So I think he was top 10 in Australia at the time. So it was someone that I was very concerned about versing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Were you guys good mates at that point, or did you know much about Sean?
Yeah, I think we'd met at that point. Some Netherworld events. I think there'd been a few birthdays. I think there was some banter beforehand between us about who was going to win, but
yeah, it was a pretty strong. That's probably the strongest field that we've had, and of course, it's only going to get stronger. I think even with the borders closed to like America and whatnot, the actual Australian comp this year is going to be more kill screen players than ever, just by what's happened over the last year.
And all of those, I think, if Barra makes it over, him and Math Tekio have both got insane PB increases in the last year. So it's watching them play is going to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, for sure. If they come head to head in the finals, like, yeah, I think it would be crazy if like in one of these competitions, if we actually see like a kill screen end. Which
I mean, it's got to happen. It's got to happen in the next year or two, surely, because we have so many people now that can do it. It's just with the number of games that get played, there's got to be something.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it's insane. One of the events that happened besides Kong Off at AK3 was I thought it was really cool. You were going for the Nibbler world record, I believe, and you were doing that alongside your brother, who was on Ice Cold Beer. Yeah, was
your
that
favorite Kibbey?
So tell us about that. That must have been like I know neither of you reached your mark in regards to that, but it must be awesome to enjoy something like that with your brother.
Yeah, it was cool to have that set up. Both of us playing side by side. It's awesome that he's interested in those types of games as well, and that there's something that he wants to do that's able to be marathoned, I guess. And just having it there sort of in public where everyone could watch was sweet.
Yeah, totally.
But I was talking to him about it the other day. So his game then ended pretty unfortunately, where the floor bounced and it tilted the machine, I believe, and we were unaware that could happen, and his game sort of just ended, I think, 20 something hours in.
Yeah. like he had gotten through the hump that he needed to, like the sleep deprivation hump.
Yeah, into that next day, yeah, and then
Yeah, we won't name names, Kiwi. But so yeah, that's interesting. So he's playing ice cold beer, and I believe there was a tilt earlier in that day or earlier in that game. Is that correct?
I think so, but I'm not sure if that was. I'm not sure how that happened. I know the last one, I think he sort of jumped on the stage and it sort of jolted the machine.
Yeah.
Um,
And then caused the tilt. And on ice cold beer, a tilt is like you lose the game, 0 points.
well, it's meant to be you lose the ball, but what was interesting is that it's similar to Nibbler where you can just sort of keep building lives as far as we're aware, but the score stops displaying, or the live screen stops displaying it as a number eventually. And I think eventually it just disappears entirely. And I'm not sure if it rolls over like Nibbler and then you lose a life and it ends the game entirely, or how it actually ended. Because normally you just lose a ball and the game would keep going.
Yeah, but this was just done.
I don't know if three tilts maybe and it ends the game, or we weren't too sure what actually caused it.
Yeah, right.
Why the tilt made the game end entirely.
Yeah. So you had finished up before him, hadn't you? Like your run was done by that stage?
Yeah, I finished about 10 hours earlier. Having more shoulder pain than I anticipated. I was just playing way slower than I wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I finished, I think, around 300 million, maybe. Yep. 13, 14 hours, I think. And then, yeah, he went for another 10, I think, after that.
Yeah,
Also,
right. Did you submit that score, Kibbey? Or is it something that you kind of want to break the record before submitting that kind of run?
Yeah, no, I don't think I submitted that one at the time. I've had one since then that's better that I haven't submitted. But yeah, I want to wait till I get the billion because I'm going to get it eventually. I don't want to waste people's time having to watch a 20-hour video just to have to watch a 40-hour video again to verify another score.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, is that something, because you did one just after Kong off 2 and you did one just after Kong off 3. Is that going to be another thing? Are you going to go for another Nibbler run?
Oh, yeah, and I did one, I guess it would have been about half a year ago now. Johnny came out. And that was actually my best one. That's when I did the 400 and something million, low 400 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I will be doing one soon. I'm not sure if I'll do it after Kong off or before. I was planning on doing it relatively soon. Because about 3 months ago, I sat down for 2 or 3 days and just completely redid all my patterns. Right.
So you're feeling more confident this time, or just safer runs, or safer patterns, or is it?
Yeah, so it's a combination of both, basically. What I did was I broke the Nibbler grid down into, or the Nibbler maze down into a grid. So it's 9 by 9, I guess, tiles. And what I would do is I'd try and find a path that would eat all the dots that would cross as few of those tiles as possible. So every time I moved one tile, I'd add up. So a path that was 96 tiles long would be better than a path that was 120.
Right.
But what I'd also try and do is there's certain moves that's just too dangerous to make. It's difficult for my hand. It's a really awkward arrangement.
Yeah.
So I'd weigh up 2 different patterns about which one might be 2 turns longer, or 2 tiles longer, but it might have 5 easier turns in it that aren't going to make me die.
Right.
So I basically just weighed that up and narrowed down some patterns that really, there was some that I didn't need to change just because they couldn't really be changed. They're just so simple that it's like everybody does them the same.
Yeah. So you're using different strategies to like whoever owns the world record. Is it still McVeigh or?
Rick Carter has the world record at the moment, 1.23 billion. I don't think I have any of his patterns. Most of them are my own. I think one's McVeigh's, and of the ones that I've just made, a few of them, there's a new Australian, Michael Edwards, who just got the first main billion, I think,
Right.
a few months ago. And I watched a few of his patterns. I was like, that's a really good way to do that.
Yeah.
So when I was coming up with mine, I thought about how he did it. And because he plays with his left hand, just because that's how his control panel set up, with the joystick on the left side.
Right.
So there was a few I had to tweak to be easier for my right hand play. But a lot of them did stem from his patterns just because he plays really quick.
Yeah. So is that you had the world record for Nibbler? Did he take that off you, or was it gone before then?
He didn't take it with that game. He'd taken it 2 or 3 years earlier.
Okay.
I had 500 million, which I set at Netherworld.
Yep.
In January of 2017, I think. And then I want to say sometime in 2018, he, I think, got 520 million-ish twice.
All right. So
And then
just tipping it.
Yeah. I think he just wanted to beat my score at that time. He wasn't planning on doing the billion. And then 3 years later, he decided he just sat down and went for it.
Yeah. Right. So
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Well, gives you something to chase. Do you play with your left hand at all? I know you were talking about your shoulder. Obviously, it's going to hurt after a while when you're talking about marathoning games for longer than 24 hours. Do you ever give that arm a break or that shoulder a break and practice use your left hand?
There's some patterns I can do relatively safely. Some of them it's just I haven't played enough with it. I probably could learn to, but I found the best time to rest it is just when I'm taking breaks in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a lactic acid thing or something, but it's like when you're doing something for a period of time and then stop, you sort of feel more tired quicker than if you just keep doing it.
Yeah, right.
So I try and just play for a period of time, because if my shoulder's hurting and I stop, it's going to sort of start hurting more.
Yeah, definitely. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that's like the classic never stop running.
Yeah, as soon as you stop, you can't start again, basically.
Yeah, that's it. And
it's not quite that bad. I mean, you can start, but it's when you take a break for 5 minutes and come back, sometimes it's hard to build lives. You don't know what it is. You just play a little bit differently. You're just a little bit off, and then you have to sort of work your way back into it. So that's something to play around as well.
Yeah, totally. So sorry, is that something you're going to go for during the Kong off, or are you going to leave it for another time?
Well, my plan is, because Jimmy's currently lent me the cab, which was really nice of him. So that allowed me to actually work on those patterns. So I made them on my computer, and then I'd sit down in the cab and see if they'd work on the joystick, and then I'd tweak them. So my plan is to go with the new patterns, I actually brought my time down from about 48 hours estimated for the billion down to about 36.
Wow. Wow, that's a huge chunk, man. That's insane.
Yeah, so if I start at 7 a.m. one morning, I'll finish at 7 p.m. the next night, which makes it sound a lot more reasonable.
Yeah.
Just one night, no sleep, not a big deal. So my plan was to do that. I wanted to do it last month, but my plan is to do it probably this month.
Yeah, nice.
Just to go for the billion. Since I have the machine here, I'll do that. Make sure I can play for that long.
Yep.
Because after that, the record's another 10 hours or so.
Yep.
Of playtime, about 10, 15 hours with slowdown. Because you're getting tired, you're going to lose lives and stuff. It's going to be harder. So my plan is to get the billion, make sure I can play for that long, and then at some point, maybe around Kong off, depending on how schedules work out, I'll try and sit down and do the actual record.
Yeah, man, that would be awesome. What was did you beat or have you beaten Tim McVeigh's original score from the Nibbler movie?
No, I don't believe so.
Right, so that was the first billion point game, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool.
I'm yet to get to the billion, unfortunately. But I mean, in both of Tim's, well, not both, Tim's 2 billion point games that he's done, it took him, I think, 7 goes to get
Yeah,
the
man.
score. I think I'm at about 4 or 5 now. So hopefully it's coming up soon.
Yeah, tell him, man. Progress each time. Progress. So it's just a matter of time by the sounds of it. You sound dedicated enough. And
well, that was the thing now with the new patterns as well. It's sort of brought in something new where it's like, it just seems so much more in reach. 12 hours shaved off a 48-hour run is pretty significant.
Yeah, man, definitely. So Kong of 4, like have you been practicing much for Kong of 4, or how are you sitting with it? Is it something you're going to take seriously, or is it yeah?
I might play a bit more leading up to it. I haven't been practicing per se. I've played a little bit actually after a recent online tournament finished. I thought about what I'd do next, so I sort of went back to Kong.
Yeah.
So I've put in, I don't know, maybe an hour or 2 a week of that at the moment, but yeah, coming up to it maybe the month before Kong, I'll probably put in a few more hours, a few nights a week.
Yeah, definitely. Is there kind of like more of a feeling that you need to play more like just consistent than high score, or do you when you practice for Kong off, do you set yourself in a different manner because there's like a feel that you just need to run boards? Am I right?
I play much safer. I'm not playing for pace as much. I mean, excuse me. I mean, obviously the points matter because you're trying to beat someone else head to head. If you're versing someone that's like Tekio or Shane or Barry, who's going to be naturally have massive scores, you need to play pretty quick. But yeah, mostly it's just safety. Springboards, I'll sort of absolutely make sure that the spring's going to be one that I'm not going to die on.
Yep. Yeah, so
I'll give fireballs more room on the pies. I'll stay down the bottom a bit longer. I'd sort of figure out what they're doing. I won't try and rush the board as much. So I'm going for a score at home. Those boards I want to get through as quick as possible, essentially, so I can get more bonus points.
Yeah.
But that's not, staying alive is a lot more of a priority because it's head to head. You only have 1 credit. At home, you can just reset and go again.
Yeah, it's actually something I've been practicing myself, is not resetting my game if I have like a 40k death or something.
You'd be surprised how far those scores will go as well. You'll have a 40k death, but then those games will go to 300,000-400,000. You're like, maybe I should play out more games because.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually I was considering on the bus a couple of weeks ago. I wonder how many people have reset kill screen games. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, it'd be hundreds, thousands probably, I'd say.
It gives me the heebie-jeebies, man. So yeah, that's awesome that you're going to get into it. Do you have any kind of like do you have any goals for Kong of 4? Do you want to like try and progress to a certain round, or is there a matchup that you would love?
Qualifying, I guess, would just be cool again. Making it to the second day. A matchup, if Alan makes it, would be cool to verse him in the head-to-head.
Yeah, keep the rivalry going.
Yeah, apart from that, it'd just be cool to maybe get a kill screen or hopefully see someone else get some kill screens.
100%. Yeah. Do you are you a bit nervous this year in regards to making the qualifying? Like a lot of the other 3 years, I'm sure you walked in thinking you're a shoe-in for one of those top 16 or top 8 places. Yeah, you're starting to get nervous about other players?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility that I don't qualify. Like I wouldn't, with how good people are getting in Australia in particular. From like, we had a few kill screen players, and then we only had a couple of people that were in that 400, 500,000 range, and everyone else was like 200. But in the last year, there's like 20, I'd say, that are 500,000 plus now.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, is it top 16 this year again qualifying? Or should
I think so. It's going to be interesting how they work it because they've got more cabs.
Mhm.
I think they're getting close to 16 cabs this year.
Yeah.
So if they push it out to a bigger bracket, would be pretty cool. But if they keep it the same, I'm not sure.
16, I think I'd probably have an okay chance. I might finish mid-table.
Yeah.
But top 8, I think there's a good chance that I could be 9th or 10th quite easily.
Yeah, well, it's interesting this year because we don't have the borders open for like the states and stuff. So every year we kind of had some international players taking up the brackets, where this year it's just going to be, besides Barra, like I doubt Richie Knuckles will be here. I'm assuming he won't be coming over. So without the international players and including Barra, it means that they'll and if the bracket's still at 16, it means that we will have 2 new players qualifying. So I think it's safe this year, and that's really exciting because I don't think we're going to lose any kind of like quality within the competition because of how good the local group's gotten. But it'll be really interesting in the years to come with international players coming over and taking up those brackets. It's really going to be tight for spots.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 or 3 people coming over can push serious Australian contenders out.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. So we might call that a night, Kibbey. Thanks for joining the podcast.
Sounds good. No worries. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no dramas. We'll have to get you and Morgan on because, just to prove which one's the best Kibbey after all.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he probably has some. He'd love to tell you about Ice Cold Beer more and why he started playing it as well, I imagine. So I'll have a chat with him and
get
see
you
if
both.
we can get one sometime. That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, and have a good night, man. See ya.
No worries. Thanks, Neil. See ya.
Spacey's Cafe and Arcade in Toowoomba kindly sponsors the Play It Up podcast. If you are ever in or near Toowoomba, we think you're crazy if you don't give them a visit. Spacey's has loads of arcade and pinball machines, retro consoles, and even air hockey. They have an excellent selection of food and drinks for the whole family, and have some great beers on tap. Spacey's is open Wednesday through Sunday, and you can check them out on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with the awesome events they have going on there. Spacey's is located at 2 Club Lane in Toowoomba. Take a trip back to the 80s with Spacey's.